Hey, how's it going, everybody? This is Mike, and I'd like to do a very quick review of three films that I found on one of my late night insomniac searches online for obscure movies that, to my knowledge, are not available commercially on DVD or Blu-ray. I just found out doing a little research that one of these films that I'm about to show you is available on the Region 2, which is Europe, but not on Region 1, which is North America. So I learned something today. Let me show you the first film. I got these from three different sources. The first film is a made-for-TV movie from the year 1970. It's called My Sweet Charlie, and you can see it's in this thin pack, no frills release, which is actually a very good print. My Sweet Charlie stars Patty Duke and Al Freeman Jr. And it's a very good film, very controversial for its time, and I think it still resonates today. Patty Duke plays a southern white girl who might be considered very lower class, even white trash, who has run away from home because she is pregnant and unmarried, and she was kicked out by her father, rejected by her boyfriend. So she's traveling around the coast of Texas, and she goes to this island off the coast of Galveston, and she breaks into a beach house, and she stays there for a while, trying to decide what to do next. And while she's there, someone else breaks into the house, a black lawyer from New York named Charles Roberts. The girl's name is Marlene Chambers. The lawyer's name is Charles Roberts, and he is from a well-to-do family. He's very well educated, and he came down from New York City to the South to get involved in the civil rights movement. And this takes place in the 1960s. It was filmed in 1968. And while he's there, he gets involved in a violent confrontation during a protest march. And he ends up being chased by a bunch of white men, and finally by one white man. And the white man is trying to kill him, so Charles kills him in self-defense. But he's afraid that he won't get any justice, and he runs. So he's trying to find a way to hide from the police and then find a way to get back home to New York City. So these two people who are very, very different and very prejudiced against each other are alone in this house, and they are very hostile toward each other for a long time, but they finally reach the point where they realize that if they're going to survive, they have to trust each other and help each other. So they start very slowly to become friends. It is a very good film, well written, well acted, doesn't flinch with some of the language. Patty Duke uses the N-word in several scenes, and highly recommended. It was filmed on location, a place called Point Boulevard, which is off the coast of Galveston, Texas. And while they were there, they had a lot of trouble with the local people being curious and upset because they had a film about a black girl and a black guy and a white girl together, and there were a lot of problems. In fact, somebody put drugs in Patty Duke's hotel room trying to set her up, and of course she had nothing to do with that. But the Governor John Connolly at the time actually had to get involved in and get people to back off and leave her alone, and to leave people alone that were making the film. So anyway, it's very well done. Patty Duke won an Emmy Award for her performance. Al Freeman Jr. was nominated. Highly recommended. And let's see, I guess that's all I want to say about My Sweet Charlie. The second film is called The Silver Cord. This is a pre-code Hollywood film from 1933, and this is the film that I just found out is available in Region 2, but not here in the United States. And this is actually a very good print. This is a film that was based on a play, and the stars of the film are Irene Dunne, Joel McCrea, Laura Hope Cruz, Eric Linden, and Francis D. And it's about a woman played by Laura Hope Cruz, who was also in the play. None of the other actors were. She plays an aging mother she has two grown sons, and it's all about the smothering, manipulative love that she has for these two sons, and how she's trying to control their lives and keep them away from the women that they love. One of her sons is played by Joel McCrea. He's the oldest son, and he has recently been married to Irene Dunne, who is a very independent scientist, and they love each other very much. They're about to have a baby, and so they go to spend a weekend with this mother and his younger brother and his fiance, played by Francis D. The other son is played by Eric Linden, and this mother is trying to break up the marriage and break up the engagement. And she seems to have this almost hypnotic power over her two sons. It's really uncomfortable to watch, and probably a lot of things were able to get through onto the screen because it was a pre-code film, and things were much more lax until they started enforcing the code. The film was directed by John Cromwell, who went on to direct a lot of classic films. He had a very long filmography. He directed Of Human Bondage in 1934, the film that made Bette Davis a star, Since You Went Away in 1944, Dead Reckoning in 1947, a very good film noir, and Caged in 1950, which is one of the best women's prison films ever made. Very, very good film, highly recommended. So, The Silver Cord. Now, the other film that I saw is another television film from the year 1969. It's called Fear No Evil. Fear No Evil, which was, I believe, an ABC Sunday night movie, which I remember seeing when it first came out. Really an excellent film. It stars Louis Jourdan as Dr. David Sorrell, who is a psychiatrist who specializes in cases that deal with the occult. Now, this was supposed to be, or actually it was a pilot for a proposed TV series. It was going to be called Bedeviled, where he would be playing that character every week, and they would all sort of have horror and mystery type themes. And there was another pilot that was also a pilot episode that was made for this series, which did not make it to TV. The pilot episode was called Ritual of Evil, which was released in 1970 on television, which I did not see. It has to do with a young man named Paul Varney, played by Bradford Dillman, who at the beginning of the film is wandering around a city late at night, wandering around in a daze, and he looks like he's drunk or he's sick or something like that, but he finds himself drawn to an antique shop where he goes in and is immediately drawn to an antique mirror, and he buys it right on the spot. And a few days after this man and his fiancee, played by Linda Day, are in a car accident where Paul is killed. And of course, this young woman is grieving about the man she was in love with, and she finds herself having these weird dreams about this mirror. And she doesn't know if she's actually sleepwalking or if she's just dreaming this. But she goes to the mirror and she sees Paul dressed in black, looking very pale and very strange, reaching out to her and trying to get her to come into the mirror. And of course, it gets very involved. She ends up feeling that Paul is with her and making love to her. And so she is sent to the psychiatrist, Dr. Sorrell, to try to find out what's going on. And he finds out that the whole thing has to do with demonic possession. It's a very, very good horror film, surprisingly good for a television film. And in a way, it's kind of like a modern day film that's a gothic themed mystery. It has a lot of great atmosphere. The idea of another world inside of a mirror looks back to a classic British horror film called Dead of Night from the year 1945. Very, very well done. Unfortunately, Fear No Evil is not available on any form other than people who record it off television. So this is a very bad print. You can watch it, but it's just not anything like a remastered or well done, well recorded DVD, which is really unfortunate. But hopefully someday somebody will get the spirit and put this out on a DVD or Blu-ray release. Very, very good horror film, well worth seeing in any form, but it would be nice if it were remastered. So, okay, also in the cast we have, we have Carol O'Connor, and we have Marsha Hunt and Wilfred Hyde White, who was also supposed to be in the proposed TV series. Okay, that's all I have to say. Let me know if you've seen any of these films or if you have any questions you want to ask. Thank you for watching.